No jumping on the bed. No jumping on the bed. Can you say no jumping on the bed?
Yeah.
By Ted Arnold. See, no jumping on a bed by Ted Arnold. In his room near the top floor of a tall apartment building, Walter was getting ready for bed. His father said, "If I told you once, I've told you 1,000,000 times. No jumping on the bed. One day it's going to crash right through the floor. Now lie down and go to sleep." Walter plopped down on his pillow and squeezed his eyes closed. "Good night," said his father. He turned out the light and pulled the door almost shut. The room was dark and quiet except for a soft coming from the room above. "That's Delbert upstairs," thought Walter. I'll switch on his lamp. If Delbert can jump on his bed, so can I." Walter jumped higher and higher until his hair brushed the ceiling. When he landed, the mattress creaked, the floor creaked, and his whole bed tipped upside down. Through the floor went Walter, bed and all. Walter's bedroom was directly above Miss Hattie's dining room. She was quite surprised when Walter landed in her spaghetti and meatballs. "I was not expecting company for dinner," she mumbled with a mouthful of meatballs. Said Walter. "Spaghetti is my favorite, but didn't have a chance to eat." His bed smashed through the table and kept right on crashing down through the floor. Down and down fell Walter, Miss Hattie, the spaghetti, the bed, and all. Mr. Matty didn't even notice a bed coming through his ceiling until a meatball bounced off his head. Miss Hattie landed in his lap.
TV.
Yep, TV. "I already had a bath tonight," said Walter. He wanted to watch the monsters on TV, but his bed crashed through the floor and took the TV with it. Down and down fell Walter, Miss Hattie, Mr. Matty, the TV, the spaghetti, the bed, and all. Walter's Aunt Batty had just moved in. She was still unpacking when Miss Hattie, Mr. Matty, and a dripping Walter tumbled through the ceiling, right into the box with her stamp collection. Look, see, remember, he fell in the aquarium. So now all the stamps are sticking to him.
TV.
Yep, TV again. Walter burst through the bottom of the box and through the floor. Aunt Batty soon followed. Down and down fell Walter, Miss Hattie, Mr. Matty, Aunt Batty, the stamps, the TV, the spaghetti, the bed, and all. Patty and Natty worked hard for days, building a house of blocks. Look, they're twins. See? Patty and Natty. Yep, TV again. Patty and Natty had worked for days building a house of blocks. Afraid the fatty cat might knock it over, they shooed her out. Then upstairs neighbor came through the ceiling. "Excuse us," said Walter. "We won't be staying long." Then his bed crashed through the floor. Down and down fell Walter, Miss Hattie, Mr. Matty, Aunt Batty, Patty, Natty, Fatty Cat, the blocks, the stamps, the TV, the spaghetti, the bed, and all. The last thing Mr. Hanratty expected to see was a bed coming through the studio ceiling, followed by nearly everyone in the building. "If I knew you wanted to see my painting," he said, "I would have tidied up a bit." Then his floor caved in and everyone followed Walter's bed. Purple paint. Down through the hole. Down and down fell Walter. Miss Hattie, Mr. Matty, Aunt Batty, Patty, Natty, Fatty Cat, Mr. Hanratty, cans of paint, the blocks, the stamps, the TV, the spaghetti, the bed, and all. Maestro Ferenghetti and his string quartet were astonished by the colorful crowd. Yeah, that one's blue. That dropped in unannounced. "I love an audience," he said, but when paint splattered everywhere, the maestro wished his audience would leave. And they did, taking his string quartet with him. The maestro's floor was the basement ceiling. It was dark as midnight down there. Walter squeezed his eyes closed and fell through the darkness until he landed on something soft. He opened his eyes. Everything was in place. And outside the door was his mother and father were talking quietly. "Ooh, no more jumping on the bed for me," said Walter, as he laid back down to sleep. Suddenly, he heard a creak. The ceiling cracked, and down came Delbert, bed and all. Down and down fell Delbert. The end. It's over. The end. Next one. That's third book. Let's go.
Next one.
Yeah, go get the next one. Hurry.
Hey,